Welcome to another episode of More Than Dice. I'm Gonzo.
I'm Captain Mizzy.
And I'm Monica. I'm a guest today, and I'm happy to be here.
John is off tonight, and so this week's episode we're having Monica from Geeks to Gogo to talk about some cosplaying, some hanging out, some nerding, all that good stuff. I met Monica. I've actually seen Monica and around Adepticon and knew of Monica, but actually met her this last Adepticon and all her cosplay. And I was like, I gotta have Monica on so she can talk about some cool shit. Before that, let's get to the business. We want to thank Creature Caster for sponsoring the channel. Not only do they make a great game, Judgment, which will be at Warfare Weekend, which, by the way, if my mods are listening, they can put out the link to it because badges go on sale tomorrow.
Your mods are listening as if they're not right here.
On top of that, they also make great miniatures just of any type, and they have a really good paint line out. If you haven't checked out Cephalopod Studios paint line that they're doing, you should. I'm not a sketch and glaze painter, but it is a sketch and glaze set, but the sketching paint can be used as normal paint. And the glazing set, I really, really like. I've been using the glazes on highlighting and stuff like that and been really appreciative of those. We want to thank Turbo Dork. Turbo Dork, of course, makes great metallic and turbo shifting paint. We will be giving away some gift certificates pretty soon for them, so make sure you check them out.
Yay!
They're also going to be sponsoring Warfare Weekend too. We also want to thank Muse on Minis for hosting our channel and getting us out there to the masses. Make sure you go check them out, guys. We all have affiliate links on all the pages, and you can check them out and find some cool stuff to buy. We want to thank Conquest, actually Parabellum War Games, and their game Conquest that you could play. If you like a good rank and file flanking game, that's perfect one out there. And they have some of the best miniatures, plastics to play this with. They're super, super cool. Really like them a lot. And if you got a link, you can get a discount on your first order from us. We want to thank Midnight Heroes, also another sponsor of Warfare Weekend, and will be vendoring at Warfare Weekend with all of his chibi stuff. So make sure you go and check him out. Go check out. I know he's running a summer sale right now, so you can get a discount on everything on the store. Did that Kickstarter finally finish yet, Mizzy? The second one?
I think it did. I don't keep up with my Kickstarters as well as I should.
But
Look,
I know
it gets paid for. That's all I know.
Yeah, and then
yes, it was successful.
Yay! And I know that I think they're going to be hitting ReaperCon next, so you can go check them out at ReaperCon, which is a really good place for all the miniature artist type stuff. And they'll be at a ReaperCon, and then of course they'll be at Warfare Weekend, and they're going to be doing something special for Warfare Weekend. We've got everything ready. We're waiting for the sculpting. Oh, I'm talking too much on that already. But
shut up, Gonzo! Damn
it'll
it!
be coming out. But it'll be really cool. I'm really excited for it. What else? Did I get everybody? I think I got everybody.
You did Creature Caster. You did Midnight Heroes.
Yep.
You did Muse on Minis.
Yep.
Turbo Dork.
Yep.
I think that's everyone.
Type thing. So
I don't know. My memory's a goldfish.
Guys, as always, we want to make sure that you're always being safe out there. It is so freaking hot everywhere. I don't care. Make sure you stay hydrated. If you're working outside, make sure you're checking on yourself. Make sure you're drinking enough water, not, energy drinks, because I know that there's an individual that was drinking nothing but energy drinks type stuff. And
I can tell you that was not me.
Yeah, there was somebody that was their apprentice or something was doing nothing but drinking energy drinks, and they were working outside of construction, and bad things happened, and you can't do that. Arta Michael, does ReaperCon have a variety of mini sculptors, or is it kept more exclusive to their brand? I don't know anything about their sculptors at ReaperCon, but if you go to ReaperCon, it is a variety of sculptors and painters and artists, so it's not just Reaper miniatures. that are there. There's a ton of stuff. Oh yeah. Also Canadian fires. Fuck. Be careful up there.
Yes.
All my Canadian friends. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're checking out. Make sure you're staying away from it. Type thing. Hopefully all of our things down. I don't know what I don't know the how hot it is up there in freedom units compared to Canadian units in degrees, but I know it's hot everywhere. It is so freaking hot. Type thing. But the big thing that I know everybody's wanting to know is, what are we drinking tonight? Captain Mizzy, what are you drinking tonight?
I am spicing up my health a little bit with some sparkling ice kiwi strawberry water.
Ooh, you're hitting hard tonight.
I
That sounds
know, and
fancy.
it's pretty.
That is really pretty. It's
Monica,
very-
what is your drink of choice tonight?
I know we were talking about being healthy, but this is always my drink of choice. I love root beer. It's my favorite thing ever, and yeah, I just love it. It's my favorite.
So you're an A&W, not a Barks.
I'm both. Like I'm very. I know that sounds horrible, but I'm not really picky. As long as it says root beer on the bottle, I will drink it. That's how not picky I am. If it's not this, cherry Coke is another one of my favorites. But right now, we're also doing a lot of basil iced tea. I don't know if you've ever tried that,
Interesting.
but it's really good. You basically just boil basil leaves and mix some lemon in it, and then let it cool off, and it's such a refreshing drink.
I will.
Gonzo's like, I don't know about that.
Gonzo's picky.
I will
I know
try
it's herbs.
anything once, but if I don't like it, I'll try it twice, and then if I don't like it, then it's completely off the menu.
I know it's off, right? Because it's basil, and you
Yeah.
associate basil with savory things, but it's the same with the Philippines. We associate avocado as a fruit, not as a savory thing. So we make avocado ice cream. And like, see, like Gonzo's like, oh my
More
God,
avocado for me,
no.
Gonzo.
Avocado to me is nothing but slime in a bucket. It's just. Now I had someone say that I
Oh.
should try avocado, and I will. Don't get me wrong. I will try anything. So when someone says, "Here, this is avocado ice cream. Taste it," I'll try it. I'll
He won't like it, but he'll try it.
I will always try it, but it does not sound very appetizing at all. Type thing.
Oh man, I
Um,
understand that.
So we're big foodies here. So if you want to talk food, we'll always talk food.
Oh my
We can
God.
talk food.
We can talk food.
I baked brownies this weekend too.
Yeah. So I mean,
They made everybody happy.
I always like variety foods. I like spicy but flavorful food. So I'm always like, we got a good Korean restaurant here. We've got good Thai restaurants around us, and I'm always like, yes, yes, yes. Or Indian food. I love Indian food too.
Oh, love that.
I love good
So
spicy.
good.
So where are we?
Mhm.
My drink of choice. So everybody knows, all of my test results are back. I'm waiting for an appointment, so I'm still hitting the water. So everybody knows.
The hard H2O.
Yeah, the hard H2O in the big Yeti cups. But I am just small health update. All the tests are in, and waiting on my appointment for the neurologist and everything. So we're waiting. Everything's fine. I'm off my steroids, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm doing good. So no big deal, no worries. I live like I gotta live and not worry about it. So do we have any shout outs, Captain Mizzy?
Just the one that you wanted to do.
Oh, we're doing a shout out to John. For people that don't know, of course, John wasn't going to be here anyway because we have a guest. We always jump somebody off, and John's not much of a cosplay person, so he's like, oh, why don't you have Captain Mizzy do it? But John is feeling under the weather. John has been throwing up all weekend. We don't know what he ate or whatever, but he is not feeling good. I think he told us he's upchucked about 10, 15 times. But he is doing better. Hopefully it's not both ends this time. It's just one end that's an issue. But we want to send a shout out to John and make sure he gets a little bit happier and healthier, and whatever he ate will stop killing him.
That would be great. That's
So
my friend.
yeah, we don't know what he ate. He doesn't even know what it was. So he's just making sure. So we're gonna give a shout out to him. Um, we want to give a shout out to anybody else. Monica, do you have a shout out you want to give out to anybody?
Well, I want to give a shout out to Cephalofair Games because they've got I should say we have a Kickstarter happening right now. We have a lot of stuff in that Kickstarter.
You
We
mean
have
Backer
an
Kit?
RPG. I mean, sorry, Backer Kit.
Don't worry, I do the same thing.
I know, because
Link in chat.
everyone, thank you for checking me on that, because everyone who's approached me at the booth, they kept saying Kickstarter, while we were at Origins, and I keep telling Backer Kit, it's Backer Kit now, not Kickstarter. So it was kind of now I'm the one who's messing up. But yeah, we have a Backer Kit right now. We have a new RPG that's coming out. It's really nice. We have a mini version of Gloomhaven coming out. It's called Bits and Bugs. We have all the minis now for all the monsters for all 3 of our games, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Please check it out.
So,
and my husband, shout out to my husband because he's amazing.
There you go.
Buttons and Bugs. Sorry, Buttons and Bugs is what the tiny Gloomhaven thing is called.
Nice.
Guys, as always, we always say this. If you see something, say something. If you can do something, do something. If you can't, find someone in the will and we'll throat punch them. Solve the problem. Cheers.
All 5 people.
Oh, cheers.
My water's better than your water.
Hold on, one more.
See, I don't have to have 2 sips to know mine's better. It just
I'm
is.
rehydrating my cells so they'll be replenished and I won't be dehydrated and I can poop and pee properly.
Good for you.
That's really good. So, it's been 13 minutes and no cat ears. I'm really disappointed in y'all. Y'all have really, really not done anything this week. And no tango for Terry's. Totally disappointed. Totally.
Be disappointed. It's fine.
So, we brought Monica on. Okay, there's the cat ears. We brought Monica on.
Damn right there is.
Because I wanted to make sure that we did something, cosplay design. And Monica is super rich, super powerful in the cosplay community. I mean, everybody knows her. Everybody's seen her. They're like, oh my God, we will pay you $50 million to show up and stuff. So, Monica.
I could have just quit my job.
Shit, I could too.
I could have bought a 3rd property. Holy moly. Yeah, cosplayers are very rich. I hope y'all know that.
Yeah.
I'm being sarcastic. Oh my gosh.
So, I'd actually seen Monica around and seen your picture and seen you. I mean, we all work in the same circle or play in the same circle. I should say not work, but play in the same circle. And I met you through other people. And I was like, oh, life has passed by. I got to get a Monica on here because I know that she's pretty cool and everything. But let's hear the story behind Monica. How did you get started? This just didn't happen overnight. I'm sure your success of making billions didn't just happen overnight. So tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about you and how you got started.
This $1 billion business started from one thing. Oh my God. I make billions of money. I make buku bucks. No, I'm just kidding. So how it all started and how I know a lot of people in the industry basically is when I started my website back in 2015. That sound about right? I think so. I started a website called Geeks, Gogo. It started out as a blog to write about
Wait. Gogo as in dancers?
I'll go. So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up because they associate Gogo with my cosplaying, and a lot of people thought I was a burlesque dancer. I love burlesque dancers. Don't
Oh
get
yeah.
me wrong. I love them. I go to a lot of nerdlesque whenever I can at any show. I do not do burlesque, unfortunately. I kept my brand very PG only because I love working with kids. That has been a big passion of mine. I love doing a lot of classes with kids and going to libraries and doing classes there as well. So this year has been very heavy on that. Um, but yeah, like the blog in itself, I named it Geeks a Gogo because it's an adage. A Gogo is an adage for like all sorts. So it's all sorts of geeks is basically its meaning. But yeah, um, and then when I started the blog, like a lot of folks like started approaching me about doing press releases and whatnot, because my following was starting to grow. And we did a lot of press at Gen Con, so that's where the whole board gaming and RPGs and miniature stuff started for me. Um, I did a lot of press, interviewed a lot of folks, and that's what got me into that industry or those industries. And my cosplaying was it was like a hobby at that time. Like I got introduced to cosplaying when my husband took me to my first convention, which is Wizard World, who's now Fan Expo now, out here in Chicago. And fast forward, we're gonna fast forward because that's such a long story. When
You have like 45 minutes, so you don't have to worry. You just
Time is
I know,
not an
right?
issue.
It was like 45 minutes for my life story. I don't know, but like, so I competed a lot in Gen Con too. Like I've won awards at Gen Con. Actually, two of my awards are up on my wall just to remind myself, hey, you can do this shit, and people like what you do.
very much
I
so.
won with this cosplay. It's the Phoenix Monster cosplay from Cool Mini or Not. That has been the most memorable cosplay that everyone like associates with me with because the wings open up. I have a remote on one of my swords for that character, and it just like opens up with like linear actuators. I did all the wiring for that. I had a little bit of help with the wiring because the material schematics was wrong when I bought it, so I couldn't. I'm not an electrician, but I can do a lot of like electronics because as intimidating as it sounds, is actually as long as you know your positives and negatives, and don't cross them, you're fine. It's not gonna blow up. All right. So I encourage people to try it out. But yeah, that was my biggest electronics project. Wings that are powered by a remote and opened up, and I won a golden needle for that at Gen Con.
Oh,
Prior to that,
what's a
huh?
golden needle?
Oh, golden needle is given to a person at Gen Con during their cosplay contest, which, by the way, if you go to Gen Con at all, I recommend going there. I also recommend if you have anything scheduled close to or around the time where the cosplay contest is happening, you better get to where that room is fast because they actually like have a parade that happens before the contest starts, and you're gonna have a hard time getting to that room.
Yep.
But anyway, Golden Needle is given to the most highest like craftsmanship award that they give to the convention. So you're kind of like in the master's level of artistry, and that's like kind of like the big prize that they give you. So I got that with the Phoenix Monster. So thank you, Gen Con, for that. That was amazing. The year prior to that, we took first place in group cosplay with my friends and I cosplayed Destiny cosplay, and that was also a great experience. But yeah, I've competed several times since at Gen Con. Um, and
How did you get into cosplay? Was it like, oh, I just wanted to do this for fun because I wanted to make something cool, and then it just started branching out?
I love dressing up ever since I was a kid, and I love doing art. I'm very creative. I mean, I'm very creative as a person, and having a really, and I'm sorry to say this, accounting is very mundane. Like it's very like kind of like you deal with numbers all day, and I kind of need a creative outlet for it. And I've actually stopped doing any sort of art and focused on going to school for accounting just so that I can get paid, like, to be able to afford my own place is how it started out. So when I moved into the country, I moved here in 2005, sorry. So I moved here in my early 20s with my parents, and yeah, it was a rough journey, just like trying to like figure out what it's like moving to another country. I'm in my early 20s. I don't know anybody aside from family, you know. um I used to live in Madison, Wisconsin. That was the first place that I lived in, and I lived by myself basically. So I had my own apartment. I worked 2 to 3 jobs depending on what kinds of jobs I get a hold of, you know. Um, and I got sick and tired of that. So I was like, I don't like this. I don't like doing 2 jobs. And here I am. I'm still doing 2 jobs because I'm a workaholic. um, but you know, it's like I just wanted to do something else other than working at a coffee shop in the morning, and then right after that shift I go and do an office job, and it was just so much work. It was so much. I didn't have any vacation whatsoever, so I was like, I'm tired of this. I need to go back to school. um I had a psychology degree when I left the Philippines, and I was teaching kids with cerebral palsy before I left. And I wanted to continue that when I moved here, but I can't because
The
schooling
degrees
and
didn't
all that.
transfer over.
Yeah, it's not recognized here. So
That
I
sucks.
basically need to go back to school anyway. Somewhere along my journey, like I landed a financial type of job in Madison, and my boss told me, "Hey, you know what? I think you make a really good accountant. Like consider that." And I'm like, okay, because I was good with spreadsheets and stuff like that. So I thought about it. Um, Long story short, went to school for accounting and then worked in corporate and hated it. I hated
What?
working for corporate.
No, kid. Corporate is such an awesome place.
It is, don't get me wrong, I had a few like fun stuff that, you know, because sometimes corporate companies, they have like all of the bells and whistles, you know, like they got one of the companies I work for. I used to work for Mars. They did M&Ms,
Hmm.
you know, all the candies and stuff like that, you know. So we'd have free candy every day. The newest candy, we'll get it on our desk like every morning, stuff like that. Um, but you know, like, you know, perks like that, and like other companies I've worked for, I've actually like gotten tickets to like floor seats to the Bulls game, like, you know, we, you know, all this like perks. It's amazing. But my end game really is to work with kids and also to work with nonprofit organizations. And I have the best of both worlds right now. I actually work for an accounting firm that specializes in nonprofit accounting. And now I work with kids at libraries out here in Chicago and teach them how to cosplay. So I have the best of both worlds. So absolutely love it.
That's awesome.
I ended up, and I'm gonna be honest, like I gave up on doing press for all the stuff and doing interviews and whatnot. Um, I love I love the industry, but I also like have a hard time with coming up with funds to go to conventions, because going to conventions is very expensive.
Oh yeah, it is.
Um, if you travel a lot, and this requires me, like if I was doing press, it would require me to go to Gen Con. Gen Con is not a cheap convention to go to, even if it's like a 3 hour drive from Chicago. Um, and then, you know, like we've got so many conventions out here. You know, Adepticon's one of them. Gen Con's one of them. We got Gary Con in Lake Geneva. Um, what else we got going? Gamehole Con in
Hmm.
Madison, Wisconsin,
Yep.
which I wish I was, you know, I was that big of a nerd back then. If I would have known, you know, like I would have been doing that. But when I lived in Madison, I did a lot of hockey. I played a lot of hockey with folks. So that's how I spent like my spare time. Um, but yeah, like Art of Michael says, like even small shows get expensive. Exactly. Like you add up the food, your hotel, you know, buying games. I mean, how can you not buy games when you're at a convention, right?
Yep,
All
spending
this stuff
cash.
like adds up. Yeah. But for me, it's never been just about money. It's for me fulfilling my passion and my dream of becoming an artist. And that has manifested its way into becoming a cosplayer professionally. So not only do I work for companies on cosplay for them, I teach kids now too. So it's like, heck, I've got it. Like I finally reached that point where I'm doing what I want to do finally.
Um, so I want to go over here. You gave me some pictures, so we're gonna go to and do a slideshow of some of your cosplay because I know people are asking, and we always do this. And you can talk about it. We talked about your first picture is of course your logo for Geeks a Gogo. Um,
Yay!
so it's on there. So your first one is, and this is how I got to know you was you were at with Ross at the with Gloomhaven, Frosthaven type stuff,
Yes.
so this one is this a Gen Con one?
This was at Gen Con. This was in 2020, actually. This was taken, it's the Gen Con, I think, after the year that we skipped it because of the panda.
The panda.
The panda, the panini.
The, the evil
So that
panda.
was the year after that. And we had a smaller booth and we only had one demo table. These are both cosplays, by the way. Like, so I wear this armor cosplay that's kind of like my main cosplay for Cephalofair Games, and the character name is a Banner Spear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the main characters, or starter characters rather, for their game Frosthaven. And to my right, or facing it, the two-headed ones is also a cosplay of mine. And it's called a Geminate. And this character is pretty cool, and I love this so much. So what this character is, it's a 2-for-1. So one, it's an insect being that splits up. So one of them is a melee attacker and one's a range attacker. And you can only use one per turn. So you have to decide which one you want to do. I think that comes in handy if you have a small group of mercenaries like during your game. So both characters I absolutely love. The funny thing about the two-headed cosplay is because since people know that I wear it, sometimes they talk to it, even if I'm around. Like, yeah, we have fun sometimes. Like we will see people just like approach it, and I'm like, I'm standing right here, and they're like just talking to this two-headed display, and I'm like, hi, can I help you with anything? And they'll be like, oh no, I'm fine. I'm talking to. It's like that's me.
Well, because aren't you actually your head is actually when you're in the costume is behind the two heads, correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm wearing like a black ski mask and like big sunglasses. Lately I haven't had a chance to like wear this one, just because it's been hot. Like Gen Con is in August, and if it's like 90 plus degrees inside, it's still like, even if they have like the air conditioning on, it's hot. So I
Oh yeah.
actually have bands that I'm wearing like around my neck and on my chest just to keep me cool. Um, but on top of that, like I have a health condition too that I can't really wear heavy stuff and be standing for a long period of time. So that's limited me into wearing it. But I love wearing it. It messes with people a lot. And I love being able to like kind of like frighten people a little bit. Uh, so yeah, that's always been fun.
Next one, I like this one because I really like this picture of you in this because it's a really good angle, and when you gave me the group, I was like, ooh, I like this one. Plus, I also love your makeup in this, by the way, too.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
what is this one? This one for people that aren't watching us and are actually listening, it is kind of looks like a ninja in red.
Um, she kind of is. She's like her name's Maroha. She's from Yashahime. Princess Half Demon, I believe. I'm like blanking out on a lot of stuff today because it's been a crazy week and it's about to get crazier. But yeah, it's from an anime. It's from an extension of Inuyasha. And I love this character. This was taken in Maine when we were up there. In one of their like foresty areas, so it was a lot of fun I did this makeup at 4 in the morning in very limited lighting, so I'm so happy that it turned out really
Good job, really.
But yeah, our shoot was like at 7 in the morning, because the photographer really wanted to capture that light coming through the trees, and it hit just right. Some of the pictures, you can kind of see the light kind of just like hitting the trees and like making this really nice kind of like spotlight that makes it look so like heavenly. But yeah, that's one of the best like cosplay shoots I've done. The photographer is Amy Photos, and she's absolutely incredible.
Next one. This one right here, when I saw this, I was like, this is cool. You have a cathedral on your back, a giant staff, and this looks heavy as hell.
It's actually not my heaviest cosplay, believe it or not. It's actually not bad.
It looks
So,
heavy.
I don't know if I have a picture of this in the folder that I sent you, but in the cathedral is actually the mini that's inspired this cosplay. So I had an actual cathedral. When you open it, it's like a dollhouse, and it has like those benches, those like church pews and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's like a um like one of those like tall like structures where like priests like give sermons and stuff like that. And my mini is in there. And the inside actually had actual floor tiling that we've cut into small squares and like put in there. And the mechanism and the inside, there's actually a speaker, and the stained glass windows actually light up and they move to the music.
Nice.
So that's what this
That's
whole
so
cathedral
cool.
thing. This character is Arthenia the Sixth, and it's from a company who makes miniatures called um, Raging Heroes.
Yep.
And it's one of their miniature lines. It's very 40K inspired.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm supposed to say 40K inspired.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's a really cool. Like, I have the staff still back here. Like, I have it on display. Because it's one of my favorite props ever. It's got that cool like, you know, very cool like 40K vibe going on. I really like it a lot. Um, I won Adepticon for this one. I won their
Nice.
cosplay contest for this one. But yeah, really love this one. I did all the stitching, the beads on the beadwork on the hat. I did it all by hand. I made the chalice like 3D. So it's actually really cool. The bottom of that skirt, which you can't see in this photo, I actually had to 3D design the beads because they don't have beads that look like that anywhere. So I had to come up with my own way of creating beads. So I created files on Tinkercad
Mm-hmm.
and had my husband print it for me. So I'm gonna get into a tangent on this one. So a lot of folks like think like 3D printing is cheating when they enter competitions, but I don't think a lot of people understand what exactly goes into 3D printing other than just printing. You're not just printing anything. I know Gonzo can attest to this because he 3D prints,
A
but
lot.
like when you 3D print stuff, it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah.
From creating the file is a lot of work. You think you're just making a circle, you're wrong. Like you need to make sure everything is actually like on the right angle, and like if you're adding anything to it, you need to make sure that they're level. When you print it, sometimes you'll get issues with your filament, not sticking to the bed or anything like that. There's a lot that goes into printing too, like having to put supports on your piece just to print it right, because you
Yep.
can't just print the files like, oh, here's a file, you can print it, have fun. um Adding supports is also a part of it. And then it doesn't stop there. After you print it, you got to sand it down.
Clean it, cure it.
You have to clean it. Yeah, if you're using a resin printer, you have to like cure it with alcohol or whatever it is that you use. So I make the files, my husband prints it for me. Because I already sometimes I'll take a week or two just to create the file, so it's a lot of work. um But yeah, after that, you sand it, and then you paint it, all the stuff you gotta do. So it's a lot of work. You're not just printing stuff. So a lot of folks always consider that cheating somehow. But if you've 3D printed something, you wouldn't. You would never consider it cheating.
Your next picture is the one your Phoenix one.
Yeah,
Which
this is the one that I have been very, very known for. And everybody thinks this is the best cosplay I've ever made. And this photo maybe like touched up, but this is kind of like what I look like, really. Like the eyes are really real. Like I had red sclera lenses on my eyes that covered my entire eye, and it freaked people out. I had it specifically measured to my eye. They were not cheap. Um,
Mhm.
they were measured to how big my eye was. Um, and then my armor is made out of foam. This was my first extensive like sewing work and extensive electronics work because of the wings. Like I've mentioned earlier, like the wings are powered with linear actuators, and I had a remote on one of my swords, and I got the schematics from Crooked Feather. If you go through her Patreon, you actually learn how to make this wings. Um, I'm mentioning that because she's a fellow like cosplayer who does this for a living. Please support her. Don't share her stuff for free because a lot of folks have shared her tutorials for free, which is really sad. Um, please support like small artists. Like they're a small business. Um, this is their bread and butter. So yeah, I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, thank you for making this tutorial because I would not have been able to make this beautiful piece. This character is inspired by a mini, and this is what got me into cosplaying for board games. And the board game is called Rising Sun by Cool Mini or Not. Um, when the Kickstarter, this is actual Kickstarter now. When the Kickstarter came out for this game, in 2018, I believe, I saw the character and it was their first stretch goal for that Kickstarter, and I contacted a company right away and I said, "Hey, I have this competition in 4 months." So I was making this cosplay in 4 months, wings and all. And I was like, "Can I please have the design for this, the back? Because I want to know what the back looks like." And they emailed me back with the art director, CC'd on it, and said, "Give this lady whatever she needs." they, they gave me the
Glorious.
STL file of the Phoenix monster. I'm like, what? This is it's wild, nobody does that. So I was like, yeah, thank you for that cool mini, by the way. But yeah, I really enjoyed like making this cosplay. This pick is the second iteration of it. The first iteration, I made a crown out of Warbler, which is, if you're not familiar with Warbler, it's a thermoplastic that you mold, and a lot of cosplayers like put it on top of foam to give it more designs. It was so heavy when I wore it, it actually gave me a permanent dent for a week on my forehead for
Oh
how heavy it
man.
was. Because the wig in itself, it's this tall. It's
we
like
can't.
about
Nobody can see you.
more
So.
than a foot. Yeah, it's more than a foot tall.
Okay.
So a lot of folks, when I was wearing it, they thought I was tall. I'm 4'11", folks. I'm really short. But this cosplay made me look tall because of the hair. The hair was like really high, and what's holding it up is actually a plastic container from the dollar store, from Dollar Tree.
Dollar store's where
So
it's at, guys.
yeah, that's where it's at. Get your cosplay supplies there. It's cheap. But yeah, that's what's holding it up, and you can't tell because everything is just enclosed in all that hair. Um, but it was like a lot lightweight, and that's I take it back. That's where I got my golden needle from Gen Con. That award got me the golden needle. Um, but yeah, that was fun. Oh, this one's Arthenia. I entered this for a competition, and this has actually never won a competition, but this is my most extensive like armor, my first extensive armor build. Um, if you see like the whole cosplay at some point, it's a lot of work. Like those leather detailing that I have on the suit, I hand stitched that while I had it on because I needed to know where the things go because it needed to line up with my with my boobs. Funny enough, when I entered that competition, they told me I wasn't wearing the right bra for the suit, which is a really odd thing to tell someone who
Interesting.
didn't want to highlight their boobs in cosplaying.
So
Um,
wait. You weren't wearing the right bra. What was the right bra?
I have no clue, and this is the thing that I have when I join competitions. I always ask the judges what I could have done differently.
Mm-hmm.
And that particular judge basically told me I wasn't wearing the right bra, and I'm like, but that wasn't the whole point of me wearing this. But anyway,
Point
I
is to have armor, not
right,
boobs.
Yeah.
Like
right.
boobs are great, but
And I will get into the whole like cosplaying with boob stuff. I don't have any issues with people doing sexy cosplays and stuff like that. Um it's just not my brand. Like I said, I work with a lot of kids. That's not my brand. Like
yeah.
I'm from the get-go, especially back then I was still working for corporate companies. Like I can't do stuff like that, and I've decided not to because I want to work with kids. That's
Yeah.
that's just basically it. That's the only reason I have. I have nothing against people who do Patreons or OnlyFans or anything like that because work is work, and that's a lot of work, and I recognize it as such.
Your next one is your pastel in front of the C2E2 entrance. It looks like.
Yeah. So this one is Queen Celestia from My Little Pony, and this is my version of her. For as a cosplay, I dip dyed that fabric, that ombre fabric. I actually hand dipped that
That is
the week
gorgeous.
before that weekend because I'm crazy. But yeah, like I did the layering of that. It was actually not as bad as people said. Like I basically folded and gathered the fabric while I'm dip dyeing it. That's why it has achieved that effect, and it worked out the way I wanted it to. But I wore this to judge the C2E2. I think it was in 2020, before the pandemic. Um, Literally before the pandemic and everything started closing out. I wore this to judge their masquerade on that Sunday at the show. So yeah, that was a fun one to wear. I really like that cosplay a lot.
Next is your Pusheen.
Ooh, so I used to be, and I stopped doing this because when I got sick, I just didn't have time for anything else. I used to be a Pusheen box ambassador, so I would get the Pusheen box on a quarterly basis, and this was I'm pretty sure this was like one of my first boxes that I did, and I decided to make a cake, like an ice cream cake that's themed Pusheen to go with my outfit here. So I've made this whole outfit while I unboxed the Pusheen box, and they were really happy with it. So, I actually, this is one of the best, and I'm not just saying this because I used to be an ambassador. I think they are one of the best subscription boxes if you want cutesy stuff because they actually include apparel in there,
Oh,
and
cool.
most of their clothes, and it's like a really decent price, and most of the clothes that they put in there are actually really cool. Like I've been wearing most of them when I get them from the box. They're Halloween boxes. If you love Halloween as much as me, it's amazing. Like every year they bring it because they know that's their top seller, and they always sell out of their Halloween. I shouldn't say it's a Halloween box, it's a fall box, but they
Yeah.
always theme it Halloween because they know it's a bestseller. But they always bring it every year with a Halloween theme.
That's
Um,
awesome.
Next is your mermaid one.
Ooh, this one. Oh, this one's a original cosplay that I did, and I did the crown and everything. I did it while we are at our cabin in Maine, and finished it there because I didn't have enough time to finish it. But yeah, this was taken in the water there. Again by the amazing Amy Photos. She was just an amazing cosplayer and photographer at the same time, so she knew exactly like how to maneuver the water too. She was really great. Like there were some shots of this cosplay where I'm actually swimming in the water, and it looked amazing.
I think. Oh, and this one I thought was very interesting. This is your Belle Fett.
My Buffett, yeah. So, so for the very first time ever, from what I know, the very first time ever, Star Wars, what do they call it? Like kind of like their convention,
Uh huh.
like went to Chicago, and since it's like here, you know, in our hometown, like I was like, okay, well, let's think about cosplay. So where to this? And my friends and I, we decided to do a Disney princesses Mandalorian style. So I came up with this like version of Belle, and I don't know if there's a picture in there. I probably not. The backpack, which is the jetpack for this, is actually her library, and it lights up.
Oh, cool.
But I don't think I included it on the slides, but that's okay. But yeah, this has been a retired cosplay, but I might bring her back because I love this helmet so much. I mean, come on. Like I've put a lot of like work into painting this helmet, and it's just like one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was interesting. So, one of the subjects that I wanted to bring up, and you and I talked about this before the show, um, there's a lot of people, and I don't want to say a lot of people, there's a stigma behind people that always get that don't cosplay if you're not skinny, don't cosplay if you don't have big boobs, don't cosplay something outside your race, so on and so forth. And it always brings me back to, and I always laugh because you should be able to cosplay whatever the hell you want. But I always
Hmm.
joke because
Well,
Manfei, Manfei, I don't remember. I remembers when that hit the scene when that guy dressed up as Faye from Cowboy Bebop, and he dressed as Manfei, and it's like the costume was on point and everything, and it was hilariously good. And if anybody wants to share a picture of that, they can and put a link to it. But it's Faye from Cowboy Bebop, and it's Manfei, and it goes to say I hate when people say this that you have to be skinny, you have to be, the right race, you have to have the perfect thing, and if you don't have everything, you're a shitty cosplayer. And I know you've probably had dealt with that before. I mean, it just comes with the territory. What has your experiences been with that lately, or any period?
well, I'm still dealing with that right now because I am a brown girl. I mean, I'm more on the lighter side of being Filipino because Filipinos and Spanish, like that whole
Mm-hmm.
history about that. So I'm a lighter skinned Filipino or Filipina. We discuss this a lot. I do a lot of panels out here and with a lot of other conventions about being a person of color who cosplays and being a plus size cosplayer because um, there is a stigma about like cosplaying certain characters and being a certain weight for it, being a certain skin color for it. Now, I will clarify you can cosplay anything for anyone you want. However, you cannot cosplay a skin type. You cannot blackface. You cannot
Correct.
do dreads are a very like topic that a lot of the times like are is being brought up. Um Black people's hair type is not a cosplay, so please don't do that. Um, there's a lot of like things to discuss about that, and I can provide links for that as well. We've discussed it in Sheeprop, which is another group of cosplayers, an organization that I actually like also like work with. Chicago POC cosplayers is another organization that I work with. Um, we do not like cosplay people's skin color or hair and hair texture. That's pretty much the bottom line. We shouldn't cosplay anything offensive. Like for instance, in a few conventions, there were people dressed up as Nazis. Like we
Nope.
don't do that.
Nope, we punch
We
them.
don't do that. That's very offensive.
Yes.
Even if it's like, oh well, it's from a game, you understand, right? It's like no, we just don't do that.
Nope.
Like period. Um, so yeah. But as far as being someone who doesn't fit the skin color, body type of the characters that I'm supposed to look like, I've found confidence in just being myself, just cosplaying these characters. One, cosplay is costume play. Like you can't really put certain things in a box when it comes to cosplay. It's just like your way of being and showing your creative side to these characters, and it's your way of honoring them. um a few times, well, when I'm working at the booth, like for Cephalofair, I would be approached by individuals and tell me like, oh well, you know, I mean, this is the character I cosplay. It's called the Banner Spear. You showed a picture earlier. Supposed to be a skinnier, tall like person, light skin, and it's like, why did they pick you to cosplay that character? There's like a couple of times I've been asked, and I'm like, well, I applied for the job. That's why I'm here. I applied for the job, so they hired me. That's how I got the job, and that's pretty much been my answer. Like, why wouldn't they hire somebody who has the skills to do it? And one of the things that we would discuss when we do these panels about cosplaying as a person of color, cosplaying as a plus size cosplayer, is that people will always make you feel like you don't belong in that seat. You take that seat because you deserve it. Like, you've worked hard for it. Like, I've been doing this for like 6 years now. People know how hard I've worked, and like how I've like constantly like try to improve my skills like every year, like adding something new to my portfolio. And that's how I get picked. That's how I get picked to do panels. That's how I get picked to be a guest at shows, and et cetera, et cetera. I didn't just, I don't know, I wasn't just sitting here doing nothing and then they just hired me or whatever, like out of nowhere. It was really hard to be hired because, as you've said, I've approached companies and picked a specific character so that they can kind of like, oh, she wanted to cosplay this character, but you don't seem like that character. I mean, let's call it what it is. Sometimes, that happens. It's like, oh, well, you don't look like the character, so unfortunately, I don't think this is a good fit for you at this time, and that happens. Or sometimes people just don't understand what it is, what it means to have a cosplayer in your booth. Like, some folks don't understand that, and you kind of have to explain it. And it was a long journey of trying to figure out, okay, like, how can I show folks that I can actually work as a part of their staff in the booth, not just standing there. Like, I think we've always had a stigma about booth babes, is what they used to call cosplayers back in the day.
Yeah, there
When
was
they were at
also
booths.
yeah, there was also a lot of people have started banning because it's not. And here's the thing: you're cosplaying as a character. The booth babe, I think that came around with like E3 when E3 was getting rid of the, and it was just
Mhm.
very skinny, very attractive, very thin. You know, it was a sex symbol when it was called booth babes.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
was there's people sitting there that are just there to be eye candy, and they weren't even part of the whatever they were trying to sell. That was just a skinny girl in a bikini type
And
thing.
again, there's nothing wrong with that. I
No,
mean, if that's what it called for, then that's what it called for, right?
yes,
There's nothing wrong with that. But my main focus was, I'm not just going to be cosplaying when I started working at booths. My main focus is to promote the products that they have and be able to talk to the fans and be able to sell stuff. I'm part of the marketing team in a way. I don't want to be just standing there, because let's face it, these conventions are more than 8 hours some days. Who wants to just stand there and look pretty though? That's got to be more stressful than anything, just standing there. And I don't like that. I don't want to be that person who's just standing at the booth doing nothing.
yeah,
And even then, like, when I was doing it for like my first year, like, some folks are like, oh, so what do? You just stand here all day? It's like, no, I do a lot of stuff actually. Like, I helped set up the booth. Before day one, we help set up the booth and we help with tear down too. Like I do that. We help like with the display cases. Like I help arrange it. I clean. I vacuum because we have carpeting that we have for our section,
Mhm.
and I I vacuum it before the show starts. I do more than just cosplay there.
You're
Um,
you're whether people like it or not or whatever. You're pretty much the first face they see when they go to the booth because you stand
yes,
out at the booth.
mhm, right, yeah.
While I love
That's
Ross
another thing
and
too.
he's awesome, you stand out there with your your spears and such, and it
My
makes
armor, yeah,
it makes it
And your
stand out more.
energy.
Yeah,
yeah.
Your energy is amazing whenever you're
Thank
out
you.
there.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I have to be like, I have to keep that level of energy too. And I don't think people realize if you're at a convention for 4 days for more than 8 hours to keep that level of energy is a lot.
Oh yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lot. And it's like I know I've mentioned this before, but like in late 2021 I got diagnosed with early cancer in my uterus. So last year was, I mean, not sugarcoating it or anything, but last year was horrible health wise. But I still worked. I still worked the shows. I still showed up. I still did everything. But what people didn't know, like the entire year last year, I probably had 8 procedures. Like, it's crazy. But I show up. I'm there. I'm in a good mood. you know, I'm in character. Like I have my weapons in me. Stuff like that. Like I'm better. Like this year's been a little bit better health wise, but like all that stuff. Like I think people don't realize like yeah, that is more than just standing there and looking pretty for sure.
So, we're almost ready to do the media section, but if somebody wants to get into cosplay, give us like anybody that we should look on YouTube or for beginners, because I've always wanted, and this is just me, I've always wanted to make the Jedi armor from like Obi-Wan wears in the Clone Wars, and like, because I think that's just totally cool, and I'm a super nerdy Star Wars guy, but I have no clue where to start, no one to do. Which actually, I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Nerd Mom, which is doing our first cosplay classes at Warfare Weekend this year. She's going to teach people how to make like a van brace and trinkets and all this stuff. She's going to be doing cosplay teaching, which I think is really cool because I want to add that to the convention. But do you have anybody that you recommend to like, hey, this is where you should go to learn about cutting foam or et cetera, et cetera?
Well, aside from myself, I do have some videos on my YouTube channel. You can just Google Geeks Gogo and you'll find it there. I have filmed some of my live streams when I'm doing cosplay, like building during my streams on Twitch. So you can find it there. But a lot of like really good resources that I would recommend. Sheeprop is a really great group of female non-binary two-spirit like individuals who cosplay, and if you ever want to find support, that's a really good Facebook forum to go to. It's just the word she, and then prop. If you Google that or if you type that in search, you'll find it there. um, SKS Props has a lot of good tutorials on his YouTube channel as well. um, Let me see what else. Kinpatsu cosplay is also a good source, and there's many out there. Like if you browse it on Instagram Reels, they have so many people doing tutorials now on Instagram Reels that it's just been amazing how helpful our community has evolved to being very helpful like in the past few years. So I love the cosplay community so much, and I love that it just keeps um, presenting all these resources for a lot of beginners to like try. But yeah, if you're in the Chicagoland area and if you want in-person classes, please request for your library to have me like come over and do classes for you, because I have done that several times this year for several libraries, and there's nothing I would like more than to do a live class, because that's a lot of folks like do learn by doing, rather than by watching on YouTube. So, and there's a lot of like techniques that I would like to show. So yeah, if you're ever in the area, just come and request for me.
And where are you going to be? What's your schedule like for the rest of the year? Where are you going to be?
Oh my gosh. Well, so far, so far this year, I have San Diego Comic Con coming up in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
After that will be Gen Con. We will be at Gamehole Con because we just love going there, and Madison has been my first like city where I live, so we'll definitely be there. And PAX Unplugged will be to wrap up the year. So yeah, hope to see you on any of those shows.
And is this all strictly for Cephala Fair?
Some of them are just me, but the big shows, those are gonna be for Cephala Fair, like SDCC, Gen Con, and PAX Unplugged will all be for Cephala Fair games. So if you find a booth, you most likely find me and my husband working there.
All right, so let's go and get to our media section. For anybody who doesn't know, and since this is Monica's first time, we did kind of pre-warn her. We do have two types of rating scales. We have from Casablanca to Cats the movie, Cats being the worst movie ever made, and Casablanca being one of the perfect movies. We also have our space herpes. The fewer the space herpes, the better the movie. So we can go with that. So for new listeners. So this week I told everybody, I think I have like 8 things I'm watching right now. Or I did watch.
You said that you had 10 on your list.
Okay, 10. So other than that, so I'll give a run through. So I was putting together a bunch of miniatures this week, so I needed something to watch while I'm doing it because I'm not a music listener when I'm putting together miniatures. I like to have TV to do it because it helps my ADHD and everything. And I was like, oh, this show on Apple TV is getting a second season. I thought it was canceled, so I'm going to give it another watch. And it's called Invasion. Invasion is a story about aliens that invade America or invade Earth type thing. It kind of reminds me, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the TV show This Is Us, where it's a huge cast where it's not just one group of people, it's a bunch of different groups of people and stuff. And it kind of leans on that. There's a group in Japan, there's a group in Europe, a group in the Middle East, a group in America. And it's about what happens when aliens invade. And the invasion starts and it happens and everything goes along. If you haven't watched it, I'm actually going to give this a good rating. I'm really picky on this stuff, and it starts off kind of slow. I'm going to tell that right away. The first 2 episodes are kind of slow. It's a lot of building, but once it starts going, it's like, this is pretty dang good. The aliens are, if you've ever seen ferrofluid, it's fluid. It's usually a black fluid that has like metal shavings in it, and people manipulate the metallic properties of it, and does all these little spiky things and everything. And if you see it, the aliens are kind of based off of that type of thing. The series has been out for a while, so this is here's your spoilers. I don't care right now. I won't spoil when it's currently live, but I will spoil this because it's been out for a while. It was actually pretty good. It took, like I said, it took a little while to get started. But once it did, I was like, okay, I'm into this. I want to know what happens. And oh shit. Oh shit type things in this show. And at the ending left it on a really big cliffhanger, which was really good. But it was not a cliffhanger that you were thinking of. It was like, what the fuck is this? And I'll leave that one spoiler free because it's kind of fun. I'm looking forward to next season. It starts in August. So I'm pretty happy about it. I did binge watch the entire thing. I think it's like 10 episodes and they're about an hour a piece. So it's a good long season. But it's on Apple Plus, Apple TV. As a space herpy, I would rate this 1 to 1.5. Because, like I said, it starts off a little hard and starts off a little slow, but once it gets going, it's a lot of fun, and it's not your typical invasion TV series. So,
Okay.
Monica, you ready for your first one?
I am, yeah. one of the shows that we've watched in the past few months is Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
that has been an amazing show. Like I've recommended that show to everyone and anyone who had time to like listen, but the writing on that show is incredible. Um definitely Casablanca, and definitely for me it's actually Zero Space Herpes. Well,
Nice.
maybe one or half. Only because the first episode kind of starts off a little bit slow.
I will agree with you on that because I tried watching it and the first episode was the same way. I was like, really? This is supposed to be getting like a
It
lot
was
of
a bit
reviews.
slow. Yeah, because like I was listening to it in the background while I was like sewing stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna like this show. And then like two to three episodes in, like it starts becoming interesting, and then the longer the show like goes, like the more interesting it is. The writing on the show is like freaking phenomenal. Like I can't even describe how good it is because it's it's kind of like my husband like described it as kind of like Columbo, like
Yep.
Natasha Lyonne is like kind of like Columbo. I've never seen Columbo, so I don't know anything about that. So that's how he described it. But her character is basically like a human lie detector, and she's trying to evade like these bad guys like throughout the show, and each time she tries to do that, she'll get into a bad situation each time.
Yep.
And each bad situation is actually written really well. There's one episode, I'm not gonna get spoilers, but it had something to do with music. I can say that. Not gonna be specific about it, but it had something to do with music. If you watch that episode, that is my favorite episode of the show.
Captain Mizzy.
Cool. So we've been going to our friend's house and on Thursdays and watching Star Trek: Strange New Worlds
Yes,
because that's what we do on Thursdays now.
it's a
and
really
it-
good show.
I love Erica Ortegas so much.
This
It
one,
just makes me happy.
this episode is my least favorite of all the episodes, but it's still a good episode. Type thing.
Even compared to the third one?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, even
I
compared to the
kind of
third one.
like.
Interesting.
kinda like
Because I
this
know
one
how
too.
you feel about what happens in the third one.
Yeah. I think this one to me it was just I kind of saw everything and what was happening and I wasn't really, wowed by it, but it was still a good episode. It's still great Star Trek. I'm gonna tell you right now, we are in the best time to get into Star Trek and like Star Trek because this year Strange New World is becoming fastly one of my favorite Star Trek series of all time.
And the costumes are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just
Yes.
say that.
The
I
everything.
Oh my gosh, they've won awards for the costuming for that show, and I follow most of their like costuming team, and they're incredible artists. Like they do the textile artwork and all the textures that they put into that clothing. You might not notice it, but if you look closer on the costumes, the construction is ridiculous. Like it is ridiculous,
Oh yeah.
like ridiculously good.
So what do you give? Are we giving any ratings yet, or are we just waiting?
I'm going to keep waiting, but if you want me to give a rating for this one, I'm going to say a 1.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It's just
And Erica just makes me so happy. The amount of joy that character brings me.
she is.
Oh.
And I think if they would have put someone else to do her role, like another character doing her role, that wouldn't have been as good of a series, as good of an episode.
Nope.
Because
Not at all.
she plays it really well. So binge watching again, and I didn't really binge, but I've been watching it and trying to keep up with it, and finally got to it. So season 2 of Yellow Jackets finished not too long ago, and so I was watching that. For people that don't know, Yellow Jackets is the story of a group of high school soccer girls that their plane crashes and they get stranded in the woods, and it's a story of what happens in the woods and their life after it. This show is not for the faint of heart. I mean, it is 100% you're going to get shocked out of this. There are some shocking scenes in this. But it is so fucking good. The acting is done very well. The characters are so good. The acting between, because they show them as teenagers and show them as adults. Um, Everything is done so well, but there are so many what the fuck moments in the show that I think it was episode 5. I went, holy fucking, oh shit! I'm like, that's out there. That just pushes the bounds. But it was done so well and so good. And it makes you keep guessing about what's going on and what happened in the woods to what happened to them now. I know they got renewed for season 3, which I'm really good because I would love if like season 3 or 4 was the last of the series. That way it just doesn't keep on and keep on and keep on doing jumping the shark. So we can get an ending to the story. But it's been really good, but it pushes the bounds of TV. And I really liked it. This season, I would give it probably 1 Space Herpes max type thing, because there are some really good scenes in this, and it's a really good stuff. That if you were living out in the wilderness by yourself or whatever, and you had to survive, and what you had to do, that's kind of what it is. Monica, what you got?
The second one that we liked watching was Mrs. Davis. It's in, I believe, in what TV network is it in? I think Peacock.
Mm-hmm.
But the premise of Mrs. Davis is basically there's this AI that's been controlling people's lives, and there's a nun that's, well, this is, I mean, it's kind of weird, right? It's like, oh, AI controlling people's lives, like, oh, here we go again. But then there's like a nun that goes on this rampage because of this AI, and that's as far as I can say about this show. Now, I know it sounds kind of like, oh, well, another show like this, but it's like, again, another really, really good, well-written show that just like takes you on these like twists and turns. But every episode, I do give it like a 1.5 Space Herpes, because sometimes there are some scenes that are like, come on, like you kind of like roll your eyes, like, oh, seriously, like, But overall, it's actually a really good show. Like, it is a good show.
Captain Mizzy?
So, in hanging out with my friends on Thursdays, I get suggested content to watch. And we got on the topic of Jim Henson and puppets and stuff. But, so, his son did a movie in 2018 called the Happy Time Murders? Yeah,
Yep.
the Happy Time Murders.
Yes.
So I watched that this morning. And it's shenanigans.
Yep.
It's a whole lot of shenanigans. It is highly adult content. But overall, it was fun. It wasn't too funny in some parts for me. But like it was still decent. It was okay. I wouldn't not watch it again. So I'd give it 2.5.
It is a very adult puppet show.
Highly adult. Tentacles are involved. But yeah, so if you're in the mood for shenanigans and highly adult content, then give it a watch. And if puppets don't freak you out, then even better. But I do like what they do with the whole artistry of the puppets. So there's that too. Yeah.
This one's going to be a twofer because I know Captain Mizzy watched it, and it's Nimona on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I forgot I watched that this week.
Yes. It's on Netflix. Just came on. It's based off of a graphic novel.
It's so good.
It is so. It's my hit of the week. This one's going to get 0 Space Herpes from me because it is so funny, written so well. The artwork is so good. Representation is really good. It's got a great story. Yeah, it's got a
Mm.
lot to it. I love the character. I can't remember the name of the girl, but it's the girl that did Hit Girl in the Kick-Ass TV in the Kick-Ass movie.
Oh,
Chloe.
Chloe Grace Moritz.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
She does the voice of Nimona, and
Oh.
it is, and she has the lines just correct. And it is,
What are you? I am Nimona.
yeah. It's really really good. I really liked it a lot. I put it on to do something, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do anything. I'm watching this, so it kept me, to watch it.
That's cool.
I really enjoyed the shit out of this. This gets my top of the week, zero space herpes type thing. It's got good representation, a good story, good lines, good comedy, good artwork, a very
yeah.
good diverse cast that I liked a lot. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
Story,
it's
the
not too
cuteness,
long.
the everything.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun. It's got some fun stuff to it.
Yes.
Monica?
Oh, Secret Invasion. We just started watching, like, I think last week, a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's kind of dragging right now for me. Like, a little bit.
I'm with you.
Two. Yeah, I'll give it 2 space herpes, to be honest. I mean, I love, like, Nick Fury and, like, the whole, like, secret society of, like, Krill and stuff like that, and Emilia Clarke being in it, but there's just some parts of it, it's like, come on, like, this is dragging, like, way too much.
I will agree with you. I mean, I like Nick Fury and, Samuel Jackson and all this, and like the character, but this series is dragging on. It is not good. It's not doing anything for me. There's nothing to it. There's
Yeah, it's more
no
of, like, a background noise kind of, like, thing when I'm, like, doing something.
Yeah. There's no heart to the story to either. There's nothing in there that makes me care about anybody that's doing stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's 3 bad reviews. That means it's not worth my time. I won't be watching it.
I mean, I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah, I'll still finish it, but it's like just so that I can see, like, where are they actually taking this, because he's been gone for a while, like, in outer space, and then comes back to this, right? So it's like, all right, like, what is this turning into, really? Because with all things Marvel, like, most of it's, like, connected.
Yeah.
Most of it, not all, but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, just for the sake of, like, knowing what actually is going on with this whole thing and where they're taking it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's not great. I mean, I'm going to stick with it because it's only 6 episodes and we're halfway through.
Yeah.
So I'll stick with it and finish it out. But, yeah, I'm like, Just ask your friend that watched it what happened.
Right?
And
Yeah.
if there's anything worth talking about. Let's see. What else? I did watch 65. It just came out on Netflix, with Adam Driver on it and everything. It's where he crash lands a ship, and there's dinosaurs, and it's so on and so forth. It's 65 million years. We all know what it is. We've seen the things. It's just okay. I wasn't really impressed by anything. Nothing made me, go, ooh, this is cool. It gets my 2.5 space herpes. It's just meh. It's okay. Nothing bad, nothing good. It's just there. It just sits there and it's okay. Special effects were nice. But for the most part, it's just nah type stuff. Captain Mizzy?
Well, seeing as how you had to remind me that I watched Nimona, I don't think I have anything else.
Monica, do you have anything you want to talk about?
We just finished watching the Wham documentary.
Okay.
That was interesting. George Michael, and unfortunately, I can't remember the name of the other person.
Because that's usually how it is.
That's how it happens, unfortunately. And they kind of, like, went into that whole thing in the documentary, and it's kind of sad in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, George Michael is kind of like one of those people who will just stand out no matter what. You know? Yeah. It's just a thing. Like there's just certain people who just stand out, like no matter what you do. And he was it. But yeah, that was interesting. I will give it probably one space herpy, just because there are some parts of it is just very repetitive. It's like, yeah, you already mentioned that. Like, let's move on to the next kind of like thing. But it's kind of cool to see how this whole thing with Bam like started when they were 12, which is like, wow, they went way back.
Yeah. My next one, I'm not through it because all the episodes are not out yet, but the new season of Warrior started up. If you haven't watched it, or don't know anything about it, it's on Max. And it was originally a story that Bruce Lee wrote about Chinatown and the start of the making of Chinatown and all the gangs and such. And Warrior is so fucking good. The writing, the characters, and the martial arts is amazing. The first episode of this season, like the first 15 minutes, you're like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, kick his ass, You're just getting all into it. And it is, the choreography, everything has been very good. I think there's only like 3 or 4 episodes out, but it has been good. I don't know how long this series is going to last, because I know it took a while to bring this one out, but everything took a while to come out because of the pandemic. And so I'm really looking forward to more of this season. So far, complete thumbs up, loving it. I love the characters, love everything that's going on with it. If you like a good period piece and great martial arts with a lot of violence.
If you need lots of violence in your life, watch this show. It is great.
But it also, it is a period piece too. So, you're got to look at all the racism and stuff that comes into this. But I mean,
all the bastards.
All the bastards and all the gangs and cops and, stuff. It's just super, super good. I'm enjoying this. I will always recommend it. Since Captain Mizzy doesn't have any more, and she's totally, she has plenty of time slacking off. Monica, you got anything else?
Oh man, I'm trying to think of what else, but no, I can't think of anything else. I think that's most of the shows that we've gone through for the week.
Okay. I mean, I have some other things to talk about. I did watch a documentary this week that was called Muscles and Mayhem, which is the story of the original American Gladiator TV show.
Yes! Yeah, we watched that one. That was so cool.
It was very interesting because that was, part of my, that was part of my early childhood, the original American Gladiator. 'Cause I remember when that went off and it was like the shit to watch and everything. And you knew things were happening behind the scenes of that show, whether you liked it or you could tell. And it goes into the story of all, steroid use, drug use. You knew that they were getting abused, and the people that made the show were making a ton of money, and they were making pittance, on what they did, and their bodies were getting wrecked and all that stuff. You just knew that's what was happening. But it was interesting to see it and to have those characters, which I thought was hilarious. Is like half of the women gladiators are lesbians, which I was like, shocker. But it was just like a lot of good stories, and it was nice to hear how that happened and whatever, and what these people did after that. Because I know they originally tried to bring back American Gladiators, and it only lasted like a season. Because I mean, it's just a product of its time then. But it was a good series, especially if you grew up with American Gladiators. Or watched it when it came out. It resonates, and you're like, yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, they got treated like shit, type thing. But I enjoyed it. If you like a good documentary piece. What else? I did watch the first half of this season of Witcher. So the new season came out, and they're only showing like 6 episodes. And then,
I think I have one left.
And then they're waiting a little bit, and the second half of the season is coming out. It's okay. I know this is our last season with Henry Cavill, and everything, but I mean it's all right. The fight scenes and the sword play and all that is great. They whoever does the choreography for that and the fight scenes and stuff is great. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
The story is just okay. It's still there. Nothing making me go oh shit, but it's a solid fantasy series. Um, so I mean, I'll give a full rating once the season is out, but right now it's okay. I'm not having a problem with it at all. Let's see. I am looking forward because a lot of series are coming back. Like I said, the new season of Invasion is next month, and I think next week the new season of Foundation comes out. If you really like amazing good sci-fi, Isaac Asimov sci-fi, Foundation is the shit. It is really really good. Um, the characters are great. It's a huge cast. It's a great story. The new season of that is coming out. I can't wait for it. What else? That was about it. There really wasn't. I mean, I did watch a lot of stuff, but like I said, there was some stuff that was just I could deal without. Secret Invasion is not where it's at right now. It's. I don't want to say I'm concerned, but Marvel's got to kick it up. I know that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 will be on Disney Plus pretty soon because I saw it for buy on Apple or Amazon.
That reminds me of the show that I want to watch, but I can't because I'm not in Australia. Dang it. There's a show about a pug, and because pugs,
Oh,
but
oh.
Australia Disney Plus has it, not America, so
What?
it's fine. I'll
That's
die
weird.
salty about it.
What else? I know there was some stuff like last week. That was pretty much about it. Oh, I did watch. I'm a big sucker for like Planet Earth and documentaries on animals and stuff like that. We finished watching Our Planet 2, which is of course Edinburgh's another thing about or not Edinburgh. It was Edinburgh, but it wasn't Our Planet 2. It was the new dinosaur series that he narrated, and it
I
was
started the first one of that a couple
yeah.
weeks ago.
And season 2 just came out, and it was fun. I mean, some of it is speculation on dinosaur stuff, some of it's not, but it was a lot of fun. Special effects for making the dinosaurs and making them look real and everything happening was pretty freaking solid. I thought it was really worth it. So, if you like dinosaurs, who doesn't? You should probably go see that.
If you like watching people make realistic cakes, then you got that show too. Because cake.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of stuff coming out pretty soon on the shows because there's been a lot of shows that are just not getting renewed. We're in the season of right now where shows are getting canceled and then things are getting renewed, and of course all the freaking reality TV shows are getting renewed, and all the stuff that's has to have writers is not because of the writers' strike, which kind of sucks.
Mm.
So hopefully we get that back. I know that Captain Mizzy and I have been watching Sex Education on Netflix, and this next season is the last season.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah, which is okay. That means that they're going to get a ending to the series, which is really good. Which is I'm happy for.
Yes.
So hopefully that we'll get its ending and we can go from there. And hey, look, it's 8:30. We made it to the time. We want to thank Monica for coming on and having a good time with us, talking about cosplay. She was kind of worried that we were just going to be sitting here drinking and cracking jokes all the time and not getting to her stuff and being weirdos. But
no, I really enjoyed being in the show. Like, thank you so much for having me, and like I've learned a lot of new shows now I want to watch. So thanks for that.
we get that a lot. They're like, "You'll watch a lot of shit." We're like, "Yeah, we do." Guys,
Gonzo watches a lot of shit.
Yeah, I do. We're gonna send y'all off into raid. We're gonna send y'all off to the Pyro Club. They're gonna be doing some Dungeons and Dragons, and y'all can work and watch them.
They
but before we do-
should, more technically, they should be playing their Margrave, which is in the Kobold Press
Oh, okay.
thing.
Ooh.
So
Nice.
yeah,
Okay. But guys, like usual and like always, make sure you take care of yourself. Check in on your friends, even your ones that are the silly, happy-go-lucky ones. Keep an eye on 'em. If you haven't heard from them in a while, make sure you say, something like, hey, just checking in with you. I haven't talked to you in a while, because we're all in that time.
life is crazy, guys.
Life is shit at times.
Life is it's a hot mess.
Yep.
So just make sure you check on everybody. And as we always say, if you see something, say something. And if you can do something, do something. If you can't, find someone that will. But for More Than Dice, I'm Gonzo.
I'm Captain Mizzy.
Are you Monica?
And I'm Monica from Geeks a Gogo. And I'm just like, do I say something?
Yes, you
yes.
Yes, I should.
You're here. You say something.
Yes, of course you say
Yeah.
something. Here comes that raid. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't seen them before and you're not sure of the show. They're awesome people.